Okay, so I wanted to shoot a quick little video here. We got these cases apart. We got the bearings apart. This bearing here is probably still serviceable, but if I'm going to go through the trouble, I don't know what these cost. Maybe $5-10. I don't know. I have to look, but it's not worth screwing around with it. You got everything apart. You might as well replace everything and do everything right. This one here I showed you in the other video was spent, and I think I showed you the remainder here. But anywho, I have the Stihl service manual, and they show a couple of tools here. This one here, basically where those two holes are, bolt up on your bar studs, like you'd be putting a bar on, bar and chain on. They bolt up there, and then there's your threaded rod, and then that pushes on the crank and it pulls it off. But and then of course for the other side you need another tool. Okay, so I priced the tools, and they're good quality tools, but I went another route. I picked myself up one of these jobbers here. Basically this will fit inside the crank there. You pick the rod up, the rod's sticking here, you can fit it right down. You got to turn the crank, obviously, so the rod's up, and she'll fit in there. And then you have this threaded rod with this little point, and this is nice because it pulls the case off and leaves the bearing in here. Now, the only thing that I could see where you would probably need that Stihl tool is if you had a crankshaft that had the full circle crank on it. Because from the way this works, I don't know if that would fit. It might fit, but I don't know. I'm just saying you may end up needing the Stihl tool if you got a full circle crank in one of the saws. I mean, I know my 572 XP has got quote unquote a full circle crank on it as I've torn it apart. I don't think this will work. It might, but I don't think it will. And that's that. And the nice thing about this is, like I said, it leaves the bearings right in there. Well, these bearings are in there pretty good. And I tried a few methods, very, very easily. They didn't want to come out. So again, I went into the manual, and there's quite a few tools. You need an arbor press and whatnot. But what I ended up doing was going to Harbor Freight and picking up this Bauer heat gun. And I think it's got 7 settings, and then a high and low, and then a cool. Well, they say the minimum is about 500 degrees. Okay, that might be a little bit too warm, but you just keep it away. And you get in here with it, and you just start warming this stuff up, obviously. Warm this up. Keep playing around with it. And then you can get that bearing. It almost will fall right out of there. And then, of course, when you're gonna reinstall the new ones, clean everything out real good. Make sure there's no debris in there. And then warm this up. And then your bearing, you could put it in the freezer or whatever to shrink it, and it should pretty much drop in. Now on this side, it looks like there's some bosses on here where the bearing it's got a spot to ride on. I think that's what it's for. So on this side, it appears that the bearing will fall in. On this side here, it's a little more open, so there's probably that bearing has to probably go a certain depth. First time putting them in this saw, so I'm sure it's no big deal, but it's something to think about. This one will go right in, You heat this up, cool the bearing in the freezer or whatever for a couple hours so it's cold. Drop it right in, and then maybe just immerse it in some cool water or warm water, or whatever. Just to, and that'll work. Same thing here, but you're gonna have to come up with something for the depth, because I don't know if you could see it showing up on camera. Let me hop on the other side here. There's really no. It's just open, so she fits in there, but. Whereas this one's got the boss. I probably showed this to you before, but I'll get up closer so you guys can see it. See that? See those three little nubs on there? I'm calling them a boss. That bearing will go right down to that spot and stop. So, yeah, this heat gun is definitely something good to have. You can do a lot, automotive work or whatever. And it wasn't really that expensive. I think it was $39.99 plus the tax or whatever. But, it's worth it to have. So I just have to get some bearings, and we'll put the crank on and get another piston cylinder. I'm gonna go with the 10 millimeter K&S, and I'll build this one myself. Clean it up real nice, paint it, just take the time with it, and I'll really turn this one into a hot rod. Might take me a while, something picking away at. The weather's starting to get nice, and we're doing a couple tree jobs now, so I got some funds to reinvest. I'm still waiting on that milling machine. We'll see. I don't know if I'm even going to pick it up right at this time. We'll see. I could really use one, but I got other projects going on, and to be honest with you, when the weather gets nice and it's warm outside, where I live here, you only get a couple months of summer, and this is nice to monkey around with when it's cold, wind, snow, and freezing or whatever. But when it's nice, I want to be outside. I'm not going to be doing as much monkeying around on saws. So I think I picked this up off of eBay. They're not that expensive. Now, the only thing I can see here is this tip, and it looks like it's held in with a set screw. I can just tell by the metallurgy, it's probably not that robust. So you may have to replace this or harden this piece or whatever, because this will probably, after you split 10, 20 cranks, this will start to mushroom or whatnot. But all in all, a little bit of investment in some tools, and you can do the job. And this is not saying anything against Stihl. The tools that they offer, everything that they have is to do the job. It's just, number one, it's not like you could walk right into the dealer and buy these tools. They're not available. You have to order them, and it's pretty expensive. But this seems to work. Like I said, on a full circle crank, I don't know. I think on these they'll work, but on a full circle, I could see where it might be a problem. And this heat gun, for the money, like I said, you could use a lot of. You could probably actually use this. Well, alrighty. Well, hey, that's enough for now. I'm gonna monkey around here.